Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's November 22nd, 2016, the 53-year anniversary of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. What we're going to talk about in this video is what is suspicious about his death in regards to the deaths of others in history, including Abraham Lincoln, as well as his brother Bobby Kennedy, as well as leaders such as Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. We're also going to talk about how his death was foreshadowed on the Andy Griffith show, Christmas Day 1961. And we're going to talk about what this episode has to do with the sitting president, Barack Obama. We are living out a script, an agenda, all planned long in advance. And all along the way, we have been mocked by a numerical code, which we will get to. This past weekend, out of Texas, there was a supposed mock assassination of Donald Trump performed by 10th graders at a San Antonio high school. Texas, November 20th. National news story 2 days before the anniversary of the last presidential assassination, John F. Kennedy. We're also going to look at this 1976 episode of Doctor Who, episode number 88, The Deadly Assassin, about a president being murdered as he's exiting office. We'll go back and revisit this headline from the 44-year anniversary of the death of JFK. That was 9 years ago. We'll talk about why that's relevant. Let's start here, though, with the fact that JFK was the 35th president, the 44th term president. 35th president, some presidents serve more than one term, so he was also the 44th term. JFK was the only Catholic president. Only Catholic president. The word Catholic in Pythagorean gematria, or on this calculator, English reduction, sums to 35. And just in case you're new, this is how this works. C is the third letter, so C is worth 3. A is the first letter, A is worth 1. T is the 20th letter. What you do here is numerology. 20 is 2 plus 0 equals 2. H is the 8th letter. O is the 15th letter, 1 plus 5 becomes 6. L is the 12th letter, 1 plus 2 becomes 3. I is the 9th, C is the 3rd. Added together, Catholic, 35. He was the 44th term president. 44 is a number connected to killing all throughout history. The word kill in gematria, using the alphabetic order, sums to 44. K is the 11th letter, I the 9th, L the 12th, L the 12th, added together, kill 44. JFK was the victim of a shooting, common in assassinations. Shooting, also a gematria, with 44. All throughout history, this number 44 has shown up next to assassinations, murders, from presidents to leaders to celebrities. Again and again, number of death, 44. When you write out 44 as a word, it sums to 144. When you write out the date April 4th, 44, it also sums to 144. And if you're like me as a child, you probably asked why we misspell the word 40. You know, logically, there should be a U in there. We spell the number 4, F-O-U-R. So how come in 40 we drop the U? Well, the reason why is because our entire language, which is nonsensical if you really think about English, it's a very nonsensical language. The way all the different words and combinations create the same sounds, how rules are followed in some words but not others. It's because our entire language was created based on gematria, this mathematical relationship with the words. You learn gematria, all of a sudden everything makes sense about English. JFK was killed on the first day of Sagittarius, November 22nd, 1963. That's also a date with 144 numerology. His brother Bobby Kennedy would reportedly die at 1:44 in the morning. His brother Bobby Kennedy died exactly 10 days after giving a speech on gun control, talking about the death of Martin Luther King Jr. MLK died April 4th, 1968. Bobby Kennedy died June 6th, 1968 at 1:44 in the morning. Never mind that Robert Kennedy equals 66. So does Sirhan Sirhan, his assassin, dead at 1:44 in the morning. 144 and 44 all throughout history show up next to death and killing. And I want you to know that the word clock, which has to do with time, also equals 44. In Jewish gematria, which is an interrelated method, the word time sums to 144. The square root of 144 is 12. Think about 12 in regards to the way we know time. 12 months in a year. 12 hours in the morning. 12 hours in the evening. You know? A clock with hands. 12 numbers on the clock. The reason all of this is so is because the Freemasons have built this world around us. It is Freemasonry that is responsible for this. Freemasonry is thousands of years old. They pride themselves on being the keepers of knowledge. Gematria is an ancient knowledge. Goes back to the ancients. And all this time it's been kept, and it's been sacred to the Freemasons who govern over us. Our nation, run by Freemasons from the beginning. Again, John F. Kennedy was killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Master Mason. The Zapruder film, which shows his death, created by a 33rd degree Master Mason. Think about how JFK was killed on 11/22. 11 plus 22, 33. In numerology, 11, the master number. 22, the master builder number. 33, the master teacher number. Teacher equals 33. So does the name Kennedy. So does Massachusetts, where the family's from. There's only 3 states out of the 50 that sum to 33. The first state, Delaware. The 50th and final state, Hawaii. And the 6th state, Massachusetts. Anyway, 33 master teacher number. 11 master number. 22 master builder number. When you write out the word master in gematria, it sums to 22 and 31. Master builder is 22. 31 is the 11th prime number. Master number 11, master equals 31, 31 the 11th prime. Again, our entire language is constructed based on this numerical, mathematical system. The Freemasons are builders. Building's all about measurement, precision. Our language, constructed with the same types of ideas and concepts. So anyhow, JFK was the 35th president, the 44th term president. He was the 8th president to die in office. The first president to die in office was the 9th president, meaning the next president to die in office will be the 9th. William Henry Harrison, he died 1 month into his term, supposedly of the flu. He died April 4th. Died April 4th, 1841. You know? Same date Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. 4-4. Number connected to killing all throughout history. Zachary Taylor, another president who died in office, said he drank spoiled milk or ate something rotten. That's what's blamed on his death. Likely killed by arsenic. Arsenic in gematria sums to 33. 33rd element on the periodic table. 33, a number of sacrifice. Lincoln himself is the first documented political assassination, supposedly killed by an actor in a theater. Here's what I want to show you about his death. He died early in the morning of April 15th, but he was shot April 14th, a date that can be written 14/4, a lot like 144, the number we just talked about. Lincoln in his journal also recorded on April 4th, 1865, that he dreamt of being assassinated. He would be shot exactly 10 days later, April 14th, 14/4, and again 10 days later equals 144. Doesn't it almost seem too perfect? Has this dream April 4th of being assassinated, records it, then 10 days later he gets shot. You know? I'm sure you've heard before the riddle with Lincoln and Kennedy and the parallels between the assassinations. Oswald running through the theater before being arrested. The name Abraham in gematria, the first president to be assassinated, Abraham equals 44. And in case you use this calculator, there's something I want to teach you about it real quick. When you type in Honest Abe, it equals 35, like JFK being the 35th president. There's something you need to know about S. S is the 19th letter. And when you reduce 19, it becomes 1 plus 9 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. So on this calculator, it always makes S worth 1. S can also be worth 10. If you make S worth 10 here, Honest Abe equals 44, just like Abraham, a man who died by the numbers. So now let's come to this episode from Christmas Day about a bootlegging family getting busted at 411 Elm Street on the Andy Griffith Show. JFK was part of the Kennedy family, which came to power on bootlegging. And JFK would be killed from 411 Elm Street by Lee Harvey Oswald, who had come over from Russia, kind of like how JFK was over at the site of the Berlin Wall, June 26, 1963, speaking about the wall. You know, United States, Soviet Union, Oswald coming from the Soviet Union back to the United States, Zapruder, the man who made the film, from the Soviet Union. We're going to be talking about the parallel to Donald Trump, Mr. Wall, announced as the 45th president on the fall of the wall, but the 44th man to be president. We're going to be talking about the parallels between JFK, Donald Trump, and more predictive programming for an assassination. Before we go on with this, I just want to remind you something from this presidential list. Grover Cleveland was the 22nd president and the 24th president, the only man to have a split term. Because he had a split term, he threw off the count ever since. William McKinley, who was assassinated, was the 25th president, but the 24th man to be president. Count's been off ever since. Donald Trump will be the 45th president, but the 44th man to be president. So anyway, 411 Elm Street, Andy Griffith Show, Christmas Day, 1961. Bootlegging family gets busted at this address. Then in 1963, JFK gets assassinated from the exact same address, being part of this bootlegging family. This episode aired on Christmas Day. Christmas Day, December 25th, 1961, the year JFK became president. President equals 110, just like Christmas. Christmas also has gematria of 38, like death. And for a little bonus on Christmas, December in gematria sums to 55, just like Santa, just like Satan. Obama is currently 55 years old. We're going to be talking about how Obama factors into this episode. So here it was, the Andy Griffith Show. Obama was born that same year of the episode, August 4th, 1961. From his birthday to the release of the episode was 144 days. Lo and behold, Obama would go on to become the 44th president. When you write out 44, it sums to 144. And just while we got Obama in mind as number 44, remember he's only the 43rd man to be president. The beginning of his presidency began with the whole birther thing, which was mostly Donald Trump. It was Donald Trump versus Obama for the birther. Birther 44. Now Trump is going to be the next president, the 44th man to be president. We are living out a script by actors. So anyway, Obama, born 144 days before this episode came out. Numbers connected to time and killing, 144 and 44 as we talked about. The Andy Griffith Show in gematria sums to 108. Just like Dealey Plaza. And let me add to this list, just like Berlin Wall. Donald Trump, running on building a wall, announced as the 45th president on the anniversary of the Berlin Wall. Dealey Plaza, the small way, sums to 45, just like Berlin Wall, just like Donald Trump being the 45th president. Sagittarius, the small way, equals 45. 45 is the number for the sum of the magic square of Saturn. Saturn to the occult is the keeper of time. We've been talking about the numbers of time and killing. 45 connected to Saturn. Andy Griffith show, if you just lose the, also has the parallel to Saturn. So, that was the Andy Griffith Show's predictive programming from Christmas Day, 1961. 411 Elm Street in the episode, 411 Elm Street in the history books, and of course the word assassin in Jewish gematria equals 411. No coincidence. Gematria, what we're talking about, it's mostly at this day and age a Jewish Masonic Zionist practice. The people who run our media, who run our government, who have for a very long time. Here we are, 1961. Where are we now? 2016? 55 years later, things still being done the same way. So here's the headline from this weekend, November 20th, 2016. Mock assassination, they say. Mock assassination. Keep in mind, Donald Trump just won the 58th presidential election. It was the 58th. Mock assassination equals 58. Earlier this year on Easter Sunday, out of New York, there was the story of the Trump tombstone. You might recall that story, Trump tombstone 58, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58. This was the 58th presidential election he just won. With regards to Lincoln, he died in Ford's Theater. Ford's Theater equals 58. Prior to being killed and prior to even becoming president, there was an assassination attempt on him at the Willard Hotel. Willard Hotel equals 58. From that assassination attempt to the day he was killed was exactly 216 weeks. Barack Obama, who has the major connections to Lincoln, is born on August 4th, the 216th day of the year, so we're told. Something you need to know about Obama real quick. This is important. Obama's the 44th man, but only the 43rd man to be president. He gave his acceptance speech in Grant Park, Obama. Grant Park, having connections to Lincoln. Lincoln was the Civil War president. Civil War began in Charleston. Civil War 43, Charleston 43, Grant Park 43. Lincoln was born on the 43rd day of the year, February 12th. The day Obama was first elected president, November 4th, 2008, that was a date with 43 numerology. 43 numerology. And fitting date for President of the United States to be elected because President of the United States equals 114. Now here's Trump, the Trump card, elected at the end of the 114th Congress during the time of the Netflix show House of Cards about the presidency. Talk about predictive programming. So anyway, just wanted to show this with Lincoln to Obama, Obama to Trump. Also, with regards to Obama being considered the 44th president, this is what you should know about his name. Obama in Jewish gematria sums to 84. 84. And his birthday is supposedly August 4th, 8/4/1961. 84 is an important number to this nation. United States of America equals 84. The day Lincoln died, 4/15/65. That's a date with 84 numerology. President to save the United States of America. The word Jesuit also has gematria of 84, and it said that the true assassin of Lincoln was a Jesuit protected for the rest of his life by the Catholic Church, by the Jesuit order. Jesuit 84, United States of America 84, Obama 84. Obama's the 44th president. If you take the numbers that divide into 44, they sum to 84. Think about it. 84 coded all over Obama, the 44th president. Trump, who's going to be the 44th man to be president, is a Jesuit. Went to the Jesuit school, Fordham University. So, okay, I know it's a lot of information. I hope I'm not overwhelming you. We're coming back to Donald Trump, 58th presidential election. 58's been coded all over the predictive programming for him. 58 connected to the first presidential assassination of Lincoln, Ford's Theater, Willard Hotel. Obama, when he first became president, reopened Ford's Theater. One of the first things he did, it had been closed since 1977. He reopened it February 11th, 2009, the 42nd day of the year. Freemason 42, another special number to the gang. This story here about the mock assassination in San Antonio for Donald Trump, this is the story. 2 Texas students and their teacher were reprimanded after the 10th graders performed a skit portraying the assassination of President-elect Donald Trump. One of the boys used a gunfire sound effect from a cell phone while the other student who was portraying Trump fell to the ground, according to the San Antonio Express News. The skit titled The Assassination of Donald Trump was performed as a class presentation last week for students' English class at John Marshall High School in San Antonio. So, again, mock assassination 58. Look at what else is coded into this story. They say 2 students unnamed. 2 is a number that represents division, coming apart. 2, gematria 58. They say they were 10th graders. 10th graders 58. They say the teacher was also involved. Again, teacher, number with 33 gematria. We're talking about the parallels to past assassinations. 33 connected to killing. JFK killed on 11/22. So many people throughout history killed with arsenic, the 33rd element on the periodic table. Arsenic equals 33. Look up the 33-day Pope, Catholic Church, who died on a date with 44 numerology the day after the Jesuit order's birthday, in his sleep, very likely poisoned with arsenic. The Vatican covered up the death. They called this the assassination of Donald Trump, which in gematria sums to 118. That's the death number in Jewish gematria. Just show this to you real quick so you can see it with your own eyes. Death equals 118 in Jewish gematria. And 38, another number connected to Obama and Trump. Show you something. Barack Hussein Obama equals 163. 163 is the 38th prime number. Donald Trump ran with that hat, Make America Great Again. Make America Great Again, like it was ever great. 163, same thing, 163, the 38th prime, 38, number of death as well. So the assassination of Donald Trump has the 118 coding. Trump was just elected on November 8th, 11/8. Lincoln was assassinated after being reelected on November 8th. Says they were studying Shakespeare, and after studying Shakespeare, it inspired this. I just want you to know the name Shakespeare in gematria sums to 45. Donald Trump's to be the 45th president, the 44th man to be president. Shakespeare, the big way, sums to 108. Berlin Wall, 45, 108. Remember, Donald Trump announced as the 45th president on the fall of the Berlin Wall. JFK spoke at the Berlin Wall just before his assassination. JFK with the assassination parallels to the Soviet Union. Donald Trump speaking highly of Putin and Russia. Has a wife from that part of the world. All these things, same gematria. Shakespeare, Berlin Wall, Dealey Plaza. Obama goes over to Berlin with Angela Merkel and talks about Donald Trump and the wall. See, it's a big puppet show, worldwide, Freemasonry. People call it the Illuminati, the New World Order. It's the Masonic, Jesuit, Zionist network worldwide. People who control media, government, banking, industry. I just noticed the man that they used in the story, BW, Brian Woods. By the way, B is the second letter. W is the 23rd letter, so it's 223. Masonic 223. The Synagogue of Satan 223. Anyway, Brian Woods equals 48 like Donald Trump. Also like the word wall. Here we are down in San Antonio, not too far from where the proposed wall is to be built. San Antonio, home of the Alamo, the standoff, Mexico, the United States. Think about it. The school district did not release the names of the students or their teacher, and that's probably because this story never even happened. This is probably just all made-up propaganda. Remember, Freemasonry, they're running your media, your government, your police. They control your school districts. It is a Freemasonic network that runs this world. Undeniable. And it's a network that needs to be put out of commission because enough's enough with the lies and the propaganda, the stage killing, the stage deception. They have some quotes, supposedly, probably fictional characters. Look at here. Barry Perez, school district spokesman, said that appropriate action had been taken against the three and the teacher had apologized, according to the San Antonio Express News. Harold Bean, a parent of a student who watched the skit, told the paper that he doesn't believe the teacher's apology was enough, saying it does not make the situation right. Honestly, I have run out of words to describe how angry I am and how shocked I am that they're still in school today, his wife, Melinda Bean, told the paper on Friday. This is not the only instance in which violence against the president-elect was portrayed or communicated in some way. There's been a lot of predictive programming for something to happen to Trump. Just another note here that they have out of San Diego. Remember, San Diego equals 74, like Masonic, like occult, like killing, like Jewish. Anyway, these names, Harold Bean and Melinda Bean. Made up names, no doubt, 44 and 44, the kill number. You think it's any coincidence that these fictional character names are coded 44? Not at all. Not at all. If you add those numbers together, 44 and 44, they sum to 88, like the number for Trump, which is what we're getting to next. Close out with a mention of Facebook, which is controlled by the Masonic Zionist Mafia. So let's get into 88 here. 1976, Doctor Who had this episode, The Deadly Assassin, about an exiting president being murdered. An exiting president. As I've shown in the last year, they've coded headlines where it seems that both Trump and Obama could theoretically get killed to provoke. 1968, a year of two major political assassinations, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr. That was just in the U.S. There were a lot of assassinations worldwide that year. Anyway, this was the 88th episode called The Deadly Assassin, about the outgoing president being murdered. Trump equals 88. The Deadly Assassin equals 185. Donald John Trump equals 185. And more than a week ago, I put out a video on why I'm watching the date May 18th for a potential assassination hoax. May 18th can be written 18/5. Also, the 138th day of the year is May 18th. Donald Trump, without the middle name, is 138. Doctor Who, in Gematria, sums to 68. 68, that special year, the year of assassinations, the year 911 became the national emergency dialing code, the year World Trade Center construction began. Donald John Trump, 68. Isn't it amazing how much lines up here with Doctor Who in this episode about the outgoing president being murdered? Doctor Who, the small way, 32, like Obama, like Barack Obama, like America. Barack Obama's name is so coded out. So coded out. Everything about his name, every single part of it, has multiple relevant coding. A lot of it traces back to the Civil War and Lincoln, plus more. This episode, it was long. It was shown in 4 parts. 4 parts between October 30th and November 20th. We just passed the anniversary, the 40-year anniversary. When you write out 40 as a word, it sums to 84. United States equals 40. United States of America, 84. Yesterday, the Jesuit Pope, on November 21st, the day leaving 40 days left in the year. If you missed that video, made a big announcement about abortion, meant to divide up the church. I was looking at the dates of this Doctor Who episode. It was a date with a life lesson number of 63. Again, JFK killed in 63. When you count every number 1 through 63, it sums to 2016. Here we are in 2016. I'll link all these posts in the description if you want to read them more carefully. Again, this episode is about an outgoing president being murdered. And, right now, Obama, at the end of his term, there has been predictive programming for an Obama assassination. And I've said to people for years now, look out for this. They could do this to stir up the nation, to divide us, to conquer us, to provoke us. We're seeing all these race-based shootings of police shooting unarmed black men. Imagine on top of that the first black president being assassinated. Still a possibility. Again, Obama was running for president November 22nd, 2007. He was trying to become the 44th president. This headline came out about JFK nearly being killed in Chicago at Soldier Field 2 weeks before he was killed in Dallas. Obama, Chicago, 44, the kill number. This article doesn't mention what 44 has to do with killing, but you should know if you've been paying attention in this video. So, talking about all this assassination, let's close out with this observation. After the assassination of McKinley, Teddy Roosevelt became president, who was previously the 33rd governor of New York. Notice he became the youngest president at age 42 years and 322 days. Again, Freemason 42, 322, number of Yale's Skull and Bones. He was the 33rd governor of New York before becoming vice president and then president. His family, FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, was the 44th governor of New York. Franklin Roosevelt's last day in the White House was a date with 33 numerology. He left from there to Warm Springs, Georgia on the 33rd parallel to hopefully rehabilitate his legs. The headlines when he left the White House were he might return to the White House walking. Instead, he died unexpectedly on the 33rd parallel in Georgia, the fourth state, one of two states with a gematria of 44. Georgia, the other is Wisconsin. And Wisconsin was the deciding state for Trump becoming president. Wisconsin, 44, the state that made Trump the 44th man to be president. Remember the night of the election, they had California all counted up. They had all the votes in California, and they still couldn't figure out what the votes were in Minnesota and Wisconsin. Think about it. Think about how many people live in California compared to Wisconsin and Minnesota. All of what we are living out is staged propaganda by the numbers. You know, the night of the election when they were counting up the votes, the percentages you see on the screen, it's just all bullshit. They already have predetermined who the winner is. It's like a ball game, ball game, how they try to keep the score close and exciting, keep you glued to the TV. Same thing with our elections. We got rigged sports, we got rigged elections, we got the TV duping us into paying attention. You really think they can count up all of California before they got Minnesota and Wisconsin in? Give me a break. Give me a break, people. Use your brain. So anyway, if you want to go to my blog, I have a really long draft chapter for my blog on all the presidents to die in office, how their deaths are all centered around the numbers we've talked about, 44, 38, again and again. Even Richard Nixon's resignation was by the numbers, a tribute to Gerald Ford. You never seen my video on that? You got to check these things out. Remember Jimmy Carter's 444-day Iranian hostage crisis being from Georgia, the fourth state? Georgia, the fourth state. Georgia, 44, 444-day Iranian hostage crisis. It's all a joke here, truth seeker. Just wait until Donald Trump's up here as the 45th president. I don't know if the joke could get any bigger. So I think we covered it all, It's time to wake up, people. It's time to see what's really going on in America. It's been going on for way too long. Andy Griffith show on 1961 telling people about JFK's death still years away. Hard to call that a coincidence. Until next time.